Hello, welcome to Marie's Scrappy Creations, where we sew the scraps of your life into beautiful creations. Now, for quite some time, I have been trying to think of a new way to make a coin purse. I have quite a few specifications. I don't want dented corners. I want the zipper at the top. There has to be a lining. I want box corners on the bottom. Pretty big list. So for now, I've settled. Now, let me first say there's nothing wrong with the coin purse that I'm going to show you how to make. But I don't like to make things that are just blah. I like to jazz them up a little bit. So I had this little piece of fabric left. And you see what I did? I put some lace in there. Little scrap of fabric I had. Who saves fabric that small, huh? And a little pink button. So I also had a black keychain, which went really well on this. So nice little coin purse. Now these don't have a lining, but they do have the inner side of interfacing. So they're smooth and nice. And there aren't threads hanging out. I'm going to show you how to cover almost all your threads, and you'll see how neat it turns out in the end, and I think you'll be impressed. So these were this was a piece of a crumb fabric that I had made because I have a gazillion pieces of crumbs ready to turn into quilts, but I turned this one into a zippered bag and I put that cutesy little flower button on there. And this is the one we're going to make today. This has a New England Patriots guy in a hat. I don't know what they call him. He's a Patriot, I guess. Anyway, because that's our local football team. All right, and this is the one that I'm going to show you to make. Now this is what I call a left-hander, because if you notice, these open from the left side. So for a right-handed person, they would hold it and unzip, okay? So this one is just the opposite. And I love gnomes. And if you were with me the other day on the live stream, the one before my Wi-Fi went out, you'll have seen that I got some new gnome fabric in the mail. Okay, so I've already cut into it to make stuff. And I saw this little guy off on a scrap and I couldn't throw him away. And I bet you have some fussy cut fabrics that you could do this with too. So this is what I've been making today. I'm going to make a bunch more, but I'm going to show you how to personalize some coin purses. So let's go do that. You with me? You ready? Let's go. All right, we'll take a look at what we need to have. I will list everything in the description box below with the measurements. So this is just a piece of regular quilting cotton. It's cut 5.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. I have some fusible on the back, and this is what I used. It was Pellon 987. I tried a few different ones on these bags. One I found that was supposed to, it was a heavyweight interfacing. And it might be heavyweight for an interfacing, but it's all right. And I guess having crumbs gave it a little bit firmer of a texture because there was smaller pieces holding it, I think. But anyway, either way, it depends on what you want. Now this is pretty squishable. You could squish that right up really easily. These ones are a little firmer, and I really like this Pellon 987 in the keychain. And there's my my left-handed keychain. Okay, 5.5 by 8.5. Now, normally when I cut a fusible, I cut it about 1/4 inch short. So this being 5.5 by 8.5, normally I would cut it 5.25 by 8.25 so that I had a little bit of space. But on this, you don't want that, because where we're not finishing our lining, as in like a lining where you don't see the stitches, we want this here. It will help the fabric from fraying. So just follow the directions on whatever fusible you use and put that on there. This is the shortest zipper that I would recommend going with. And this is 10 inches from here to here. From the start to the stopper, it's 10 inches. And personally, if you're going to decorate these at all, or just simply for top stitching purposes, I personally would not go any shorter than this because it would make it more awkward to work with. You're going to need a piece of fabric that is 2 inches by 2 3/4. You're going to fold that in half like this. And then you're going to fold both of your edges towards the center, fold it like this, and stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge. You're going to need a 1 inch or larger, I guess, key ring. Other than that, I used a pair of old scissors because I'm going to be cutting through this zipper. And for this, I have a little decoration, and it's going to be similar to what I did with the gnome. What I used was Heat and Bond Lite, which is good for appliqué. So I cut a piece and I attached it according to the directions on the back of this fabric. And then I'm going to trim out around this to put it on my keychain later on in the tutorial. Now, these are really cute, and it doesn't matter if you just do a plain fabric. You can certainly do that, but dressing them up a little bit doesn't hurt, and it makes them unique, and you're getting your creative juices going. So just do something maybe to decorate them. If you think that's something you'd like to do, just grab into your scrap pile. Maybe you have some lace. Maybe you have a friend like my friend Christine, who's always bringing me laces and rickracs. You could use any number of things. You could hook charms on there, or just whatever your imagination comes up with. But I'm going to show you how to do something similar to this. You could copy any of my ideas. You could do some decorative stitching. You could do some embroidery. Maybe you have an embroidered patch you could put on the front. Like I say, the possibilities are endless. So let's get going and let's see how this is done. First things first. We're going to take our fabric right side up, and along the shorter 5.5 inch edge, we're going to place our zipper. Now, later on, it will matter whether you want a right hand or a left hand, but right now it doesn't matter which way this is oriented. I just normally start with my zipper pull on the left side. So face down, kind of center that. That gives you some space to work with here. So you're going to pin or clip the zipper right down so that it's nice and even with your upper edge. Then we're going to go over to the sewing machine, put a zipper foot on, and we're going to stitch. Oops, I guess I ought to straighten that a little bit. All right, here we go. Let's go sew that. I'm going to use a 2.5 millimeter stitch length with my zipper foot, and I'll just go nice and slow. One thing I wanted to show you while I was right here is what I normally do is I line this part of my zipper foot, which is just the left side, and I line it up with that little ridge of the center of the zipper. I used to do it so that I was watching the foot on the right side go along this edge, but I found that when I did that, at least for me, I was not as accurate with my lines. So this seems to work better for me. Okay, here we go. And you know, if you start to stray off course and your line isn't straight, just simply cut your thread and try it again. It's not really damaging to do that. Okay. Now we have that nice straight line. So once you have the straight line, let me trim my threads. Zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so this is what you have. And what I want you to do is, let me back up a little bit here so you've got a little bit more room to see. I want you to fold the zipper down just a little bit. See how that exposes that about 1/4 inch? Well, we're going to trim that. Now be careful not to hit your zipper or stab your sewing machine. And just trim that out. I just took a piece off there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Now fold your zipper up and press. You could take it to the iron, but it's really not necessary. Just finger press. And now what I'll show you on the back is, had we not trimmed that, that would be almost sticking out there. So we're covering that. Okay. Now we'll go top stitch now. I'm going to leave my zipper foot on, and I always pull up my bobbin thread as a matter of habit. I'm still using the 2.5 millimeter stitch length. So make sure that your zipper is down where it needs to be. And now I line up the side of my foot with the side of the zipper, and then just as slowly as you feel comfortable, just go right across there. Now let's see what that looks like on the back. See how nice and neat that looks? Okay. And if it doesn't, it's fine. I don't think anybody's going to open up your zippered bag and look inside and go, oh, look what Sheila did. She didn't line it up, or Bob didn't cut that. No, they're not going to do that. They're just going to be happy that you gifted them or sold them such a nice looking coin purse. Okay, now we're going to take this edge right here and we're going to fold it up. Make sure that you keep your sides even. Fold that up there. Now I normally flip it so it's this way so I can see my edge, my top edge. And I'm going to pin it just like I did before. Just keep it straight with the top edge. And I know some of you will use your clover clips, and that's good. That's fine. Whatever works for you. And again, we're going to go across from one edge to the other on here. Oops, what did I do here? Okay. Didn't have that exactly perfect. Line it up. I tell you guys not to worry about it, and here I go getting really nitpicky. We'll cut our threads and see what we have here. Okay, so just like on the other side, we're going to fold that down. I'm going to crease that down a little bit to stay out of my way this time. And take your scissors and carefully trim that out. And you really don't even need to take as much as what I did. I mean, a 1/16 of an inch is going to make it so that you don't see that. It's just really a matter of neatness for me. I don't like it when that fabric is sticking out the other side. Okay, so now we're going to have to unzip the bag. Okay, and this is where the length of the zipper comes in handy. And you can tell that I have two different color threads because on one side I have red and on the other side I have white, and that is going to show up here and there, but that's all right. I have red and white fabric. So I'm finger pressing. Put that underneath there. And if you have a shorter zipper, see, this is where it would be, you know, a little more tricky maybe to get it where you need it to be. I'm sure it's doable, but it's a matter of being able to do it easily. Okay, and I am still using the 2.5 millimeter stitch length. I actually just ordered a new zipper foot because I don't like these ones. The last two sewing machines that I've had have come with this one. Let me show you what it looks like. See, instead of having like one piece, it's this double wide thing with this in the middle, and it's always cockeyed. It's always leaning to one side or another, and that drives me crazy. All right. Instead of talking about what drives me crazy, let's see what we're doing next. We're going to go over to the table and I'm going to show you what's next. Now there are all sorts of embellishments, like I said, that you could do, but this is the time you want to do them, okay? So now you decide if you want your zipper to open from left to right or from right to left, because this is where the decisions are made. You can do it either way at this point. Okay, I want it for a right-hander, so I'm going to have it open from the left side over to the right. So I'm going to crease this. And now I want to figure out how I want my emblem to go on there. So I think I'm going to trim it out a little bit. It won't be perfectly shaped, I'm sure, because I know I am not great on cutting, and those are dull. I need a new pair of old scissors. Probably not even here. This is a New England team. For anyone who's not from the States, you might not know who the New England Patriots are, but they're a sports team for New England. So, all right. So I have to decide where I want that. So what I'm going to do is divide that in half and give it a fold. And somewhere here I have a ruler, so I can measure this because I know it's 5.5, so half of it has to be 2 3/4, which would be roughly right there. I say roughly, I just measured it. Yep, 2 3/4. So that's where he's gonna go, right there. So I'll peel the backing. Forgot where halfway was. Okay, I see it. I'm just going to hit that really quickly with my iron off camera because my camera is on the other side of my sewing machine. But it just takes a minute with the heat and Bond Lite, and I really like this stuff. I really do. Okay, so now what I need to do is stitch. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to stitch around here. But I also need to have this sewn. And I think before I switch my thread colors out, I'm going to stitch this. And you guys don't need to see me do this. I'm just simply going to stitch 1/8 of an edge, 1/8 of an inch from each edge. I'm going to go down both sides for this. And then I'll meet you back here. I wanted to show you what I do with this at this point. I have it sewn, and when I hook the key ring on here, I fold it in half and I take it back to the machine, and very close to the edge, I just stitch along there. You don't have to get really picky. All you're doing is keeping those two layers together and straight, because it's one less thing you have to worry about underneath your zipper. All right, so hopefully my fan is not too loud. I shut off my air conditioner, but the fan cannot go. It's like 85 out today, and I'm upstairs, so it's warm. Okay, I'm going to stitch fairly close to the edge, but you'll see what I mean. It doesn't have to be perfect as far as length away from your edge. This is where you've probably seen me do this before. I take my first stitch, pull that forward. So I take one stitch and let the needle come to the up position. And then I grab my bobbin thread, get it the wrong way here. And then I tuck that thread in behind, out of my way. And take one back tack, and I'm just going to stitch along the edge of this design. Just go slow whenever you're going around any corners or rounded curves. I guess I could have used a navy blue thread in the background too, but I don't think it's going to be a game changer. I think it's going to be all right. Now I need to go around again, because if you missed that, I just went right off my fabric. Well, I guess I didn't. It was just close to the edge, but that's all right. Won't hurt, because this is a part of the change purse that would get held a lot and moved around, so it's probably a good thing to actually stitch it more than once. Okay, and I back tacked, and that's what it looks like. Okay, now we'll go over to the table again. All right, so now we've got excuse me, we've got to look at what that's going to look like. Pretty cool. So whatever you've used for your embellishments, I bet yours looks fabulous. So what we're going to do is open the zipper. You don't open it all the way, but you need to open it enough so that you're going to be able to open this back up when the time comes. So everything right now that we're doing, we're going to work on this end of your zipper, not your zipper pull end. You're working on the end that has the stopper. So I want you to place like this, how far from the top you want it to be, and make sure that your edges are even together, that your fabrics meet. And you're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and you're going to back tack, stitch, and back tack. When you go over your zipper, go back and forth a few times just to reinforce it. And I just used a 2.5 millimeter stitch length on that, and I went 1/4 inch from the edge, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I did just as I explained, 1/4 inch from the edge. And as you can see, I reinforced here. I think I did it probably 3 or 4 times. It wasn't messy, I don't think. I think it turned out fine. And now we're going to do the other side. And we're just about done. But see, this is the sort of thing I love. You take something that's a pretty basic pattern. There's nothing difficult about it. See, this is where it helps to know where, like, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't word it that way. You want to make sure that you get your zipper pieces together. Like, you don't want to put your tab in here and have it be open at all. Okay, so I'm going to take my tab. First thing I always do is pin this down for just to hold it in place for the moment, so that it's even with this. And I know where this piece goes. So I'm going to tuck that tab in there, and I always leave a little bit sticking out. You see? That's why a lot of people who do this pattern, they cut it at 2.5, but that's why I cut it at 2 3/4 to leave myself that little extra. Okay? So make sure that your zipper teeth are together and pin it. And mostly I'm pinning right to the tab to make sure I get it just right and in place. And then I'm going to match down the side just like I did on the other. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to back tack, sew all the way down, back tack, and we're going to go back and forth over this. And just remember, you've got a lot of thickness there through this. So just have your machine go slow. If you just have a basic home machine, it should do it, no problem, but you might have to slow down for that. Just make sure your teeth stay together. After you get to this part, you can almost push that into place where it needs to be. All right, and I'm going to show you as I sew mine. Yeah, I have everything in place and ready to go, or ready to sew, as the case may be. Okay. Remove those pins out of my way. And I'm going to take that one out just to make sure that these zipper teeth are where they need to be. This one didn't want to sit there for some reason. Okay. And if you need to go slow, that's not a problem. Just go back and forth over your zipper. As long as you go slow, your machine shouldn't have any trouble. Oops, most machines don't anyway. They would simply go right through it. I have a machine that it would probably go a little tougher, but it would still go. And we'll clip our threads. Yeah, let's go take a look at the table. All right, so here's where the other use of the dull scissors comes in. So just grab onto that zipper and cut it off. And I usually trim that tab off as well. Okay, so if you wanted to zigzag or serge your edges, you certainly could. But there's nothing messy about that edge, okay? You could use your pinking shears if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave mine like that. I think it looks fine. So now I'm going to turn it the rest of the way. I'm going to turn it right side out. And I have good old Sally there to help me get my points turned. Don't get anything too sharp. You don't want to poke a hole out through your one-of-a-kind keychain, yeah, coin purse. So I have been going over and over in my mind about a coin purse because I have like half an idea for one. I want the zipper up here at the top. I don't want bent corners. I want it to have boxed bottoms. I have all this criteria that I want on it, and I haven't figured it out yet. And because I have an upcoming craft fair, I think that's going to be our creative word of the day, is going to be the word craft. So I have an upcoming craft fair, and I want to make a lot of unique items, and I think embellishing these with with all sorts of things. I mean, that makes it one of a kind. And you know what it's like. We put our heart and soul into this sort of stuff. So I think it's great when we can take scraps of things that we have and put them into something like this to make them a one-of-a-kind and unique kind of thing. One thing I do want to mention is I usually take it over to the iron at this point, flip it over, and just give it a quick press. But other than that, you're done. And I think they make a nice looking coin purse. They don't meet all my criteria for my perfect coin purse, but I'm working on that. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. I would love to see it if you make some coin purses. Post them onto the Facebook group, Marie's Scrappy Creations. We would all love to see them. We are all scrap lovers over there. And I have some really cool things to show you on What's Up Wednesday this week. And I think I'm going to have an extra video to tell you guys about something exciting that's going to be coming up soon. All right, so until next time, you guys take care, stay safe, dig into that scrap pile, get those creative juices going, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.